And welcome to Monday Night Live. That's right. AKA the Hangout Stream, AKA the Chill Stream, baby. All fired up. Ready to have some fun for October 2nd, 2023. And brought to you by you-know-who. Yours truly, the man. Broadcasting from behind the curtain. You know who I am. Because if you don't know by now, you can visit www.livefreeliverich.com or simply Google his name. You'll find out. How you guys doing in internet land, huh? You surviving out there? The apocalypse? Did you know that traditional publishing companies are working undercover in order to tap into niche markets? No? Well, stay tuned, because you might find out tonight during our Hot Topics segment. Speaking of undercover, I have a new indie book review to reveal for you, some drama to share, and a sneak preview of a work in progress from a professional writer with over 15 years in the biz. But before I get to all that, I like to take this time, slide right inside my first segment of the night, where I like to shine a spotlight on some books. That's right. That are currently available or coming soon to an online store near you. Yes, it's true. This first book comes from the Discord servers. It was suggested to me on the Discord server. Our Discord server, links in the show notes down below. This is called Lime's Fable by Egao Chan. There's no stranger to the channel. Lime's Fable. I've already shared some reviews on this one, but let's check out the blurb. See what it's all about. Even with the blood of vampires and lichens running through his veins, Damien's passion for the great and grand has but long gone. It is only by fate, it seems, that a girl from another world crashes into his room, his world, and brings him into hers. Along this journey, Damien has to face dangerous, magical creatures he has never seen before, traverse a long and arduous road, and fight alongside the peculiar group of which he becomes a part. He must learn to grow, awaken his potential, and most important of all, find himself in his own purpose. The fate-defying, world-breaking dragon awaited at the end of their path, and they are the only ones between it and the world. 146 pages of Asian myth and legend ebooks. Asian myth and legend, dragons and mythical creatures, fantasy. All right. Does a woman crash into his bedroom? Hey now. Now that's a fantasy I can get behind. Sean's in the house. What's up, Sean? He's watching the Seahawks. Oh, there's the man. I literally just got done covering your book, Lime's Fable. See who's up next here. We have, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but this comes from a publisher. It says, do you bleed ink or cough up metaphors? Discover your writing archetype in The Right Personality. Spoiler, it's more fun than a barrel of monkeys with typewriters. I'll be the judge of that. This is The Right Personality by Cristian Mihai. Are you tired of feeling like your writing is missing what? Are you tired of feeling like your writing is missing that special something? Look no further than The Right Personality. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore how understanding your personality archetype can help you unlock your full writing potential. From the innocent to the outlaw, we'll delve into the strengths and weaknesses of each archetype and discuss how they can shape your style, genre preferences, and story themes. Through this book, you'll gain a better understanding of your own personality archetype and how to use it to your advantage as a writer. You'll learn about the characteristics of each archetype, how they can manifest in writing, and which genres may be best suited to each one. We'll also discuss how to identify and overcome common writing blocks specific to each archetype and how to leverage your archetype to enhance your writing. The Right Personality also includes a self-assessment to help you determine which of the 12 writing archetypes best represents your writing style and personality. This assessment will help you gain a deeper understanding of yourself as a writer and how to use your personality archetype to unlock your full writing potential. With chapters on how to best leverage your writing archetype, balancing your archetype with your niche, and more, The Right Personality has everything you need to uncover your unique writing voice. We'll also explore how multiple personality archetypes can combine, how archetypes can change or evolve over time, and case studies of famous authors and their personality archetypes. I was gonna crack a joke about what if I have all the archetypes? What if I possess all the archetypes? There it is. There's some extra. This is actually posted directly on the publisher's website. So I will be sharing the link to their website for this because I guess you just buy it. That you can buy EPUB. Looks like you can buy EPUB format or a PDF file. Or no, you get both. Excuse me. You get both. For the low, low price of $3. Then it goes on, explains in a little bit more depth what's inside the book, but I'll save that for you guys if you're interested. Books on craft. Have you guys read any books on writing craft? I will say that as of right now, I have not. I've never read any books on writing craft specifically. I know one of the more popular ones out there is Save the Cat. I always hear about people talking about that one. I've never read it though. However, I do like watching YouTube content on writing craft. I do find some of that stuff interesting. All right, we have one more book for tonight. This is another one that comes from the Discord server. Suggested from the Discord, this is 365 Infantry, the 2022 collection by Jacob Calta. Sounds like it might be a collection of sorts. How them Seahawks doing, Sean? All right, there's the cover. Okay, for the brave woven warriors of the 365. Okay, let me start over again. For the brave woven warriors of the 365th Infantry, the fight against the strange creations of the sentient computer, ACES, is a nonstop war for the freedom of the wastelands and those in the heart of the distorted metropolis haven. A war of nerves, a war of force, and a war waged in denim, leather, and chrome. Creator Jacob Calta takes readers on a fantastic journey into a savage world, a post-apocalyptic circus that is as much a celebration of classic science fiction as it is a salute to hot rods, chopped hogs, and heavy metal, all with a unique and stylish vision from the multi-talented author, composer, and filmmaker. Enjoy 25 exciting tales across multiple series within the setting, including a brand new spy thriller never before released. Hop in and hang on for the most savage hounds this side of the bomb. 272 pages, cyberpunk science fiction, post-apocalyptic science fiction. All right, and those are the books for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the books. And you know what the deal is. You can head on over to the community tab, cast your vote for which one out of those books, which one out of those books you thought had the most text appeal. In other words, which one out of those three aforementioned titles would you be most likely to pick? And if you'd like to discover more from the independent market, head on over to my shorts tab or my playlist tab and open that ass up some mystery packs. Yes, inside each mystery pack, there is a cover card that reveals a book from the independent market that was recognized by the Live Free Live Rich Network. And inside the description section of each video, there is a link to an editorial written specifically on that book by yours truly. But if you go to the shorts tab, you won't be able to click on the link because apparently YouTube just wants to keep you sucked into an endless loop of shorts videos scrolling. Okay. So if you go to the playlist tab and just click on mystery packs, you can just play through the list and it'll just play like regular YouTube videos. And then you can click on the link because YouTube be sneaky like that. All right. Next segment is the reader's review. No reviews for today, but what I would like to do is highlight some readers who are reviewing indie books. So if you are also a reader who not only reads indie books, but you also review indie books, then by all means, please share a review. This could be a length. What I'm looking for here is just short form reviews. So just think like Goodreads, social media accounts, things like that. And share the review with me, and I'll share it live on the stream. And I don't really care if it's a positive review or a negative review. I just want you to share your experience with me as a reader. So it's going to be, I'm looking for readers here, but it could also be like indie authors. If you've had a reader read any of your books and you'd like to recognize a reader that gave one of your works the time of day, then you can share a link to that with me as well. And I'll kind of play middleman and highlight that reader on your behalf. Yeah, even if it's a negative review. Especially if your book got a negative review, please share that with me, and then I'll read it live on the air, and we'll see what kind of reviewer they are. Slide into the announcements. We're going to keep it moving tonight. I'm not wasting any time. Speaking of reviews, I have a new review to reveal. Speaking of mystery packs as well, I just added a new one this past week. Mystery pack number 45. That's right. Mystery pack 45 reveals Chameleon by Layden Robinson. Chameleon by Layden Robinson. This was a short story. So sometimes I'll do I'll just read. I have all these like different categories of stories that I'll read. So like it doesn't just have to be like novels that I'll review. Like I'll review single short stories if that's how they're published by the author. This was on the longer end, so it's like short story. This one was like 40 pages, which I still consider that like a short story. So that's what I do as well. Like I publish short stories that tend to be on the longer end and publish them individually. But I also will review collections as well. But that's now available on the website, that new Indie Breakdown, an ongoing series where I break down books that are sold on the independent market. Now let's get into some drama news. I have some drama news to share. This past week, I was featured in the latest episode of Doorway to Nightmare, entitled Interference. They're on season 8, and this episode is featuring the voices of William Stafford, Crimson McKenzie, Robert Jackson, Carter Sheriff, Winslow Swan, and yours truly. Doorway to Nightmare is an anthology series that is horror. It's like mystery, thriller, sometimes dark comedy, where each episode is a brand new story featuring a fresh cast of characters. And new episodes premiere on Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys can check them out. And if you have something that you'd like to share with me and have it featured on the show, you can join one of our group servers. I have the Gilded Network and the Discord Network that you guys can join. Links to those always in the show notes down below. It's open invitation. Everybody is welcome. And Yeah, I set up all these different channels on there so you guys can share various different types of work, whatever it is that you have to share with me, whether it be books, videos, blog posts. And I'm also would like to get into like indie film as well. So if any of you guys out there are involved in indie film and you have like, say like some trailers or movie trailers or something like that you'd like to share, that'd be cool. I'd be interested in that. All right. Now I have a project for you guys. I like to present every week and continue to promote. And that is a little project by the name of Storytellers Society. The Storytellers Society, still accepting open submissions. This is a public collaborative project, kind of basically an outreach program, really, for my peers in the writing community. What I'm looking for is flash fiction for this project. Flash fiction for this project is fiction that is between 500 all the way up to 2,000 words. This can be fiction that you actually have published somewhere else, so long as you own the copyright and you have the right to give me permission to republish it on my blog, where it will be free for public viewing from now and indefinitely. Just because you submit something doesn't mean that your work will automatically be published. It does need to be approved, but if approved, then you'll effectively book yourself a room at what I've dubbed the Hotel del SS, where all the members of the Storyteller Society stay. Yes, the Storyteller Society. And last but not least, if you'd like to stay on the up and up with whatever it is I have going on with the Live Free, Live Rich brand in general, you can head on over to my website at livefreeliverich.com. Right on the homepage, you can sign up for the newsletter. I send out one newsletter every week that will provide you with all the pertinent links from the previous week. And if you have some news to share, share it with me, and I'll share it on the stream on your behalf. It could be book clubs, crowdfunding campaigns, what have you. Whatever you guys think is newsworthy. Okay. When in doubt, don't think, just share the link and I'll figure it out. How about that? All right. Moving right along into what may be one of the main attractions for tonight. I have a little reading time for you guys. Reading time. Now, this is going to be something special, something different, something that I have never done on the show before, as far as I know. This is, well, first, let me see if I can get this set up. All right, it looks like it's going to work, so we'll run with it. But what am I talking about here? This is my privilege to share a special preview of a work in progress written by Thomas J. Bellezza with all of you. Yes, a special preview. All right, so this is a work in progress of what I believe is a fantasy novel by Thomas J. Bellezza that he's currently working on, entitled The Maven Wars, subtitled Death of a King. And he shared the prologue with me and gave me permission to share it with you guys live on the stream. All right, so feel free, those of you watching at home, if you want to chime in, I guess, if you want to chime in, this is a work in progress. So I guess if you want to chime in with any comments or anything like that, what you thought about this, what you thought about that, as far as the writing goes, or anything that happens in this prologue, then feel free to do so. For me, I'm really just going to share this. I'm just going to read this live on the air for you guys. And I might give some first impressions, but for the most part, I just want to share this with all of you. So prologue, Zaliva guided by eagles. It felt like the beginning, if it had not started with the air of war. These words glided across the beige parchment in delicate penmanship into an ellipsis. The man paused, his hovering hand staring down at what he had written. The glow of basil green faded from the outline of his palm as he lowered it beneath the book. Age and years of conflict stained its pages. Rain flowed over their exposed surface, pouring off the edges of their tattered rims, though the pages remained unaffected by the storm. Darian closed his eyes. Against the rain pouring down his face. He felt the cold drops soak through his clothes. A mix of blood and mud stained the fabric. He touched on the memories inside himself, breathing in the history of each mark left on his clothes. His thoughts were untouched by the steady approach of heavy boots. In his mind, he felt safe in their familiar step pattern. So what I'm going to do here, I'm on page 2 of 26 of this prologue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this to reading only about maybe 3 or 4 pages of this prologue, and then leave it up to you guys, since this is a work in progress, because I don't know how much of this might get cut or anything like that. And, again, like I say, this is just a preview. The rain picked up, thickening under the thrust of the wind. Darian felt his auburn hair coiled around his exposed skin and leather armor, cascading down through his collar and draping over his backside. He bowed his head forward to reduce the sting of the weather. His movement pulled his green cloak to cling against the outline of his back. The fabric reached down to the rough terrain of the mountain edge he stood on. Your head's in that book when it should be readying itself, Ganton remarked from some feet behind. Darian opened his eyes, gazing out from the Jaggerese mountain ridge. A soft smile pulled from his serious contemplation. The history of this war continues as we wait, my friend. For that I stand in the thoughts of those who fought and those who have lost along the way. Ganton paused at the weight of Darien's words. His own mind sat in the history of the path that led them here. The Knights of Balin are gathering, his words touched with purpose. The wizard released his book. It closed on its own as he rose from his knee, turning to face his friend. As Darien moved closer to Ganton, his tome floated vertically, a foot behind him, level with his upper back. Lead the way. Darien followed Ganton down the path from the perch. They walked a few breaths before entering a chunk of forest that softened the rain to a gentle pattering against its natural canvas. The stone of the mountain merged with the large trees that burst from its foundation, protecting them from wandering eyes. The sound of familiar conversation guided their movement and led them to Order's camp. Ganton entered to the right, taking position near one of the other men who nodded as he approached. Some very vivid imagery here, I have to say. Darien strayed himself at the entrance, taking in the full collection of knights, soldiers, and others gathered around a campfire. A large armored knight of Balin led a conversation with members of the order. He glanced at Darien with a nod, and his words did not waver. Darien crossed his arms for warmth and listened. The words of the knight grew muffled as he pondered. War changes a man. I think about that boy who saw the first city fall. If only he could see this moment, what would he have become if he knew what awaited us all? Devious stumbled along the muddy roads of Salation. His young legs struggled to keep pace with his parents over the tracks left by wagons. He adjusted as needed to stay close to them. The young prince's mind daydreamed away at the bustling streets of his city, aloof in his innocence. His occasional glance at the king and queen kept them in close sight, showing almost no interest in their constant stops to speak with the merchants. Saliva pulled Devious out of the way of a random citizen pulling their horse and wagon down the road. The prince collected himself in the thudding receipt of the horses passing by. He looked up at her long hair, mixed with braids funneling down to his perspective. Remember to watch your step, brave Devious, she said, fixing his tangled hair that the wind had tousled in a manner that matched her kind words. Yes, Zoe. His words were meek, but filled with love. I noticed there was a little transition right here from where we left off here and then entered into this new scene. So there was a pretty smooth transition I see right there with the guy, this character that kind of connects this Darien character to this Devious character. I like that. I thought that was pretty slick. And Zoe. So I wonder who Zoe is in relation to him. Zaliva, guided by eagles. Well, I want to thank Thomas for sharing that with me. It's a little sneak preview of that prologue there. A little sneak preview of this upcoming fantasy. So I say just within 3, what do you guys think about just within those 3 pages right there? What did you get from just those 3 pages of prologue, mind you? And if you guys have something that you would like to contribute to Reading Time, I'll give it a look. I'll check it out. and I may read it live on the air. You can contribute to reading time. And whether it be a piece of flash fiction, you know, around 1,500 words, something like that. It could be poetry. It could be an essay, like a short essay or an article or a blog post. I'll read it live on the air for you guys. And mind you, oh, there he is. Hey, Thomas, what's going on? How did I do? Did I do all right? I want to thank you for sharing that and giving us an exclusive sneak peek into your upcoming fantasy series there. Now, is that going to be a planned trilogy, or is it going to be more than that? Or is it going to be a standalone? Well, it says entitled The Maven Wars, so I'm assuming that it's going to be like a multi-book series. So that's why I kind of just wanted to just give it a little taste of what people have in store in terms of your writing style. Oh, wow. A projected 12-novel saga. All right. Yeah, I gave a little sampling. I read a few pages out of the prologue. There's quite a bit. There's quite a bit packed into those few pages, I have to say. You waste no space. And I'll leave it at that. Well, actually, I'll also add, especially in terms of setting, very vivid imagery. All right, so Thomas shares some inside info here. He says the first 4 books are from the devious perspective, and then the second 4 books are from Maven's perspective. Okay, and then the last 4 novels will be the sequel. So like a proper saga going on here. Yeah, definitely character focused. I did gather that much just from those. Just from that tiny sampling that I gave, is definitely character focus, which obviously if it's a saga, then that's a saga is going to be character focused. Or I would imagine, or by character focus, I mean, it's going to have several different characters. You're going to meet several different characters throughout this over a timeline. Almost like following them. Now, is this a saga in the sense of like you're following them throughout their entire lives, or just like just a period, just a long overarching period piece? All right. Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, for me, that's like one of the things with like, one thing I'll say, while I was sharing it, I didn't give a lot of commentary while I was sharing it, but I will say now that for me, like I haven't read a lot of fantasy. Okay. First off, but what I do understand about fantasy by listening to people who have read a lot of fantasy is that when it comes to like one thing that I gather is like, especially when it comes to like high fantasy, and I'm kind of getting, that's the type of vibe I was kind of getting from like your writing style, is that's kind of what you're aiming for here, is kind of a more high fantasy type of story, is that there tends to be a lot of characters. and the relationships are pretty, it could be like slow burn. It's not, you know, everything is just thrown at you all at once, and you really, it's like a focus on like immersion and like getting you have to really invest yourself and get to know these characters over time. Like that's the whole point of like the high fantasy kind of series. Okay. Yeah. All right. So you definitely captured that vibe for me, at least. Good. Good stuff. I appreciate you sharing that. And that's pretty, I feel, you know, it's pretty cool. That it was like a kind of get an exclusive little thing there where I've never had that, like just look at into someone's work in progress like that. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. All right, let's get into $12 books, though. 12 books. And I don't doubt for a second that you'll be. So, are you already have these? I would not be surprised if you already have a schedule lined up for these 12 novels. I would not be surprised. Or even surprised that you already have outlines for at least half of them. You outline like a madman. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's why I just wanted to give like a little sample of it. I didn't want to. I wanted to give the readers, you know, or any potential readers out there, just a little taste of your writing style, you know, without giving away too much of the story. Because, like I say, I know what it's like to be on a work in progress. So it's like you don't want to read. I didn't want to read the whole thing and it'd be like, you know, this is what it is, you guys. Like give that kind of impression, like just a little taste, you know. Yeah. Yeah, the friggin' outlines all. That's what I meant. The outlines. Are you talking for all 12 novels? No, you can't. You telling me right now you got all 12 novels outlined? I imagine one question would be like, so say, all right, so say you have the books outlined, right? But I know that sometimes, like during the creative process, like while you're actually writing the novel, shit can change. You know, sometimes shit doesn't always go according to plan and different things come up, new ideas arise. So my question would be like, okay, if that happens while you're writing your novel or at any point during the creative process, like while you're proofreading, editing, what have you, going through your developmental edits, working with an editor, if you plan on working with one, whatever, will that do you have like any qualms about making big changes to any of your outlines or how you set up? But I also imagine because of how you set up your outlines, for those of you who don't know, you could check out Thomas. He has a YouTube channel called The Right Mindset. You could go to his YouTube channel. He has a bunch of videos on writing, and you'll actually see how he does outlines, which are very extensive. But if you've seen any of his outlines, then I can tell that, you know, it'd probably be pretty easy for you to go back and kind of sift and sort through different specific sections of your outlines, if need be, you wanted to make some adjustments. Nice. Nice. So Thomas says, correct, all 12 of them. That's nuts. But yes, correct. I will change as I write and allow things to happen. But I have general outlines and specific outlined areas. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was saying. So it might not, so it wouldn't be, so it actually, in all reality, it wouldn't be that difficult. So say if things changed, like while you're writing your novel and you want to do things differently or execute things differently, it probably wouldn't be a big deal for you to go back and adjust those outlines accordingly. I could definitely see that. That's awesome, man. You must be excited. It's a pretty big deal. I guess the only other question that I would have on that would be if you plan on self-publishing, or if you plan on going with like a indie label or like a small press, or or trying your hand at the trad pub route. I'd be interested to know that. Or if it's too early for that. You must have thought about it at least. So for those of you who don't know, Thomas, he says, I mostly write other people's novels, scripts, etc. So so Thomas has been in the industry for some time now, which I'm assuming, based on what you're saying here, as a ghostwriter. So I'm finally taking time to write these finally. He says, my goal is traditional publishing. Okay. All right. Traditional publishing. We're going to be talking about some traditional publishing tonight. But first, let me keep things moving here. Featured media would be the next segment. All right, you guys. Featured media is basically the same thing as, reading time, except I'm watching your videos or listening to media. So this could just be like audio only. All right. So if you do like web series, you're reading your own poetry, anything like that, you can share a link with me if it's published. Just make sure it's published somewhere, or it's uploaded somewhere like YouTube. Doesn't have to be YouTube, but if it's not YouTube, then I'll probably end up reviewing it just to make sure it's like YouTube friendly, if you will, or YouTube appropriate. And yeah, I'll check it out. Things that I'm kind of looking for that would be cool would be like indie film trailers, or book trailers. Your own readings would be cool, especially if you like make a production out of it, like an audio production, or it could be like samples or anything like that. Like, I'm cool with all that stuff. But yeah, so any media, share some media with me. The only thing is music. I don't think I'll share any music per se, because YouTube gets weird when it comes to music and copyright and all that. So I just assume no go on music, you guys, unless you're like an actual like musician who is doing their own original work, and say if you wanted to come on the show or something like that, I might be interested in doing something like that during this segment. Having you come on, and you can do a little song for us all live on the air. I'd be okay with that. I don't know about the audio quality since we're live streaming, but I'm open to it. All right. Now, let's get into some hot topic for content creators. Yep, hot topic for content creators. This is where I pitch a hot topic to you guys, and you guys turn around, create your own content on said topic, or else you're always welcome to join the conversation. Drop me some comments down below, and or check out any of my previously pitched hot topic videos, and we'll kind of embroider these topics together. And tonight's topic of conversation is traditional publishing obsolete? It is a question that I have asked. It was quite some time ago. I asked this question. This is the prompt for this topic. Is traditional publishing obsolete? With the rise of, social media and greater access to resources that, the average individual was not always privy to, it's more possible than ever before for aspiring authors to just go ahead and self-publish their own work and get their work out on the market. If there's a will, there's a way nowadays. So my question is does that mean, just because that is the case, all right, does that mean that traditional publishing has become obsolete? So that's the prompt for this one. And the subject I want to kind of talk about today. And so far, most of the subjects that I've covered have kind of been towards, pointing towards the idea that, traditional publishing is not, let's just say, not as necessary as it used to be. And I've also went in one of the more recent subjects is I went ahead and defined, well, what is traditional publishing exactly? Like, what does it mean to be a traditional publisher? Or what is a traditional publisher? So kind of distinguish the difference between what is a traditional publisher versus all the rest. Okay, I say all the rest because there's multiple different ways of publishing material nowadays. You could say there's an indie label, there's small press, there's self-publishing, there's now even hybrid models. And when I say the means, when I'm talking about traditional publishing, what I'm referring to specifically is the business model itself, how the business model is formed and what is the business model, how the business operates. That's what distinguishes traditional publishing from all the rest. So that's what we're going to be continuing here tonight. So I want to talk about, more specifically, what I would like to talk about is imprints. So what are imprints? An imprint of a publisher. Now, the information that I got here, I pulled directly from just Wikipedia. All right. I will be leaving a link to the actual Wikipedia page that I pulled this from. And I'll just kind of be giving some commentary on it. So for tonight's subject, we're going to be talking about imprints. And I'm actually going to be making a case for how I believe traditional publishing is not obsolete. So an imprint of a publisher is a trade name under which it publishes a work, also known as a DBA or doing business as pseudonym, and or recognized as a registered subsidiary of the parent company. So it's no secret that mainstream publishing houses have been operating this way for quite some time. In fact, as of this recording, if you visit penguinrandomhouse.com/imprints, they state right on the website, and I quote, Penguin Random House is the international home to nearly 275 editorially and creatively independent publishing imprints, end quote. So I put independent in quotes here because the way they are using the term is not how I would describe these subsidiaries. I discussed what separates a traditional publishing house from an independent company. And if imprints are independent in this sense, they are independent in name only. In other words, the business, they're not doing business as Penguin Random House specifically. They're doing business as XYZ company, if you will. So an imprint of a publisher is a trade name, a name that a business, aka parent company, uses for trading commercial products or services under which a work is published. So imprints typically have a defining character or mission. In some cases, the diversity results from the takeover of smaller publishers or parts of their business by a larger company, aka indie companies whose founders decided to sell out. Okay. AKA acquisitions. So a lot of these imprints that you'll see from, the big five, if they have imprints, are really just names of businesses, small business publishers, small publishing houses that they've acquired over the years or bought out, whether in part or in whole. And they just maintain the name itself. So in other words, one thing is like they may buy out a business, right? They'll buy out the company, the small press or small publishing house, or just a label. It could just be a label as well. But they'll continue, they now own that label. They own that business entity, that name. They own the name itself. And they actually maintain the right, which I think is weird business law, if you will. I don't know. I'm kind of like on the business end of it. I'm really not a fan of that. But in the legal sense, it's a legal name. It's all legal fiction. In other words, it's a legal name that the company now owns. And they have the legal right to do business under that name. So it's kind of like, that's what I mean. Like, it's kind of like this incognito thing. But the way that they use these names is how it said there is that they will have like a defining characteristic. So say it might be like, I don't know, one was like, if they do like specifically publish, they may use a name specifically for publishing kids novels, right? Or they may have one that's specifically just for publishing nonfiction. Okay, they might have a name that's just recognized for publishing nonfiction, just recognized for publishing children's literature. So a single publishing company may have multiple imprints, with the different imprints often used by the publisher to market works to different demographic consumer segments, like I was kind of alluding to there. So is traditional publishing obsolete? Say what you will about the modus operandi, but I don't think traditional publishing companies will be going anywhere anytime soon. Well, for one, not to mention they're not going, a lot of them are not going bankrupt as far as that goes. I mean, push come to shove, it's going to be the little guy that fails because, like I say, apparently every Tom, Dick, and Harry is just a paycheck away from selling out their entire business to, a larger company that's already established, in the industry. Which kind of, begs the question, why were they involved in the first place? But, that's neither here nor there, and perhaps maybe a hot topic for another time. So say what you will about the modus operandi, but I don't think traditional publishing companies will be going anywhere anytime soon. They'll just go incognito and continue to do business right underneath your nose. I think they'll continue to do whatever they can to just blend right in with the rest of the indie scene, because I highly doubt the average consumer is going to be conscientious about who they're buying their books from. I mean, some may check to see who the publisher is, and they'll find out this novel was put in print by, let's see here. Yes, 50 Shades of the Same Mainstream Corporation, LLC. Never heard of them. They must be independent. It's nice to know that my purchase will go towards supporting a small business owner. So what do you guys think about imprints? Is this your first time hearing about them? If you want, you can even share your thoughts about DBAs and business acquisitions. Let's talk about this. This is, the industry is changing rapidly. It's like, I wouldn't say, it's changing, but it's like the more things change, the more they stay the same as far as that goes. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about it. Thomas weighs in, says, between the resources and the reach, a publisher will always have the strength over an indie attempt. An attempt. I would assume you mean like an attempt at advertising and marketing. And that I definitely get behind that notion as well. However, they're changing though. Like they still I don't know. I've heard like the trad pubs, like they still require, like it's not like they're just going to take a chance. Another one of these that I wanted to talk about was barrier to entry. How there's kind of the goalposts are shifting, so to speak, as far as the barrier to entry is concerned when it comes to the traditional publishing route, and kind of what are some of the, and kind of highlight what are some of the expectations of traditional publishing, and how and what are kind of some of the aspects that are impacting or causing this change in the barrier to entry as far as that goes. And a little hint as far as that, in terms of that topic, is getting into this whole emergence of AI and generative AI technology, or gay tech for short. Thomas says, and well, they shouldn't just take a chance. They are investors and need to make money. When I opened my theater, I had to prove the theater would make money. Yeah, and that's the business side of it. And I touched upon that. I try to take an even-handed approach to these topics as well. In fact, in the discussion that I had about what separates trad pub from other forms of publishing, I did touch upon that trad pub is business first. It's business first when it comes to the traditional publishing model. That's what I gather of it. And coming from an understanding, like business plans and business structure and things like that, it's no surprise. And I think where people are coming from, where they're like, they're just coming out from the artist standpoint and wanting to be recognized for their greatness and this and that. And, they've written the next great American novel. And it's like it comes to their surprise when they realize that might not be what the trad pub is exclusively looking for. Yeah, they would like a good piece of work, have something that they can market and they can actually sell on the market. But that doesn't mean they're going to give you a deal just because you've written an interesting novel. There's a lot of people out there writing interesting novels. Another part of it is understanding that they're looking for a business partner. So when they're offering you a deal and you're negotiating a deal with a traditional publisher, you have to look at it through the lens of they're looking for a business partner, not just an artist. Because if you're coming from the standpoint, they're just signing me because I'm so fucking great and I'm awesome and my art is the best. You know, you're kind of coming at it from like a prima donna standpoint. And I'll tell you right now, good luck if a trad company is going to sign a deal with you, if that's your attitude at the negotiation table. Because push come to shove, they really don't need you at the end of the day. There's so many people querying for TradPub. It's insane. So really look at it like you're doing a business deal. They're looking for a good business partner. But there's also criteria about it as well. Like it's not just enough to be, oh, you're a good writer. Maybe you have to have a prove that you're capable of building an audience, you know, at least a little bit, or you've proven or at least made somewhat of a name for yourself, you know, in the social zeitgeist, if you will. And Thomas says they expect sales. Yeah. But self-publishing, well, how many of them spend the money to quote unquote advertise beyond social media posts? Yeah. I mean, in self-pub, I mean, you could argue that self-pub's more for the artists, you know, or those who just don't have money. There's like, hey, I just felt like publishing a book, you know. The conversation continues. Thomas says, when I used to manage bands, comedians, etc., I had many quote unquote acts sit down in a meeting and say the following: sign me and I'm going to make you lots of money. I just need direction and your help. And Thomas says, I already make money without you in my life. What's the old idiom? More money, more problems. Is it the moving parts as well? You know, so one thing I realize, especially when it comes to business, the more hands involved in the more hands in there, the more convoluted the structure becomes. And as soon as you start doing business with at least one other person, things can become a shit show, quick, fast, in a hurry, especially if you haven't vetted the individual that you're doing business with. Which is why I do not advise going into business with your friends, unless you don't plan on being friends anymore. All right. I'm ready to wrap it up here. So I put on some theme music. Let's get into the wrap up. Shit. He ain't talking no jive turkey. He's one bad mother. Shut your mouth. Yeah. Word on the street is that drama never sleeps. Can you dig? That's the live stream for tonight. I got to do one last thing to do before we wrap up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. I hear what you put down. So we got the super secret question of the week. That's right. What is the super secret question of the week? So glad you asked. This is a super secret question that I asked you, the viewer, for those of you who took the time to stop by while I was streaming live. Yes, this is a question that you guys had. I posed to you guys just a yes or no question, but it's a super secret question reserved for those who showed up, showed out, showed their support for the live stream. And let's end this poll right now and get the results. I will not reveal the question. The rules are I do not reveal the question, but I will share the results. And the results are in. And it was a tight race, a 60-40 split in favor of no. So if you know, you know, as far as that goes. I'd like to thank all of you who took the time to stop by. But for those of you who are watching this on the replay, please don't be shy. Feel free, drop me a comment down below. I just like to know who took the time to stop by. That's it for the live stream this week. Hope y'all had some fun. Hope y'all discovered something new. But don't fret, because guess what? I will be back here for you next week. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a good one. Oh, hell yeah. That's my guy. Yeehaw! We got to support us. Buy his product. Buy.
This offended my sensibilities.